Hey everyone, it's Mathew again. It's the last session in what's been a building course about trying to help reacquaint people with the fact that their body has things that can help the mind, especially when recovering from trauma. And so there have been some very basic things that we've been trying to cover over these last 8 weeks. First of all, I'm a yoga teacher. If you haven't watched any yet, I get on in a wheelchair. So I've been exploring how to reconnect to my body, even though I don't have control over it, in the same way that most people do. And so to reiterate some of the things that have gone through the course is that I really believe that your own mind-body relationship is something that you get to practice and can control and do it at your own pace and in your own way. And because of that, and because when you've been a trauma survivor, as I have been too, there's one of the levels of the injury is to disconnect from your body. And so what I like about like any kind of mind-body practice, but I'm a yoga teacher, is that I get to control the pace. I get to work on things right in my own case, right? Where if it's working for me, I can do it. If it's not, I can do it. All of these things and the things that I can learn from my body to help my mind remember or find sensations that for whatever reason, I'm no longer as connected to because of the things I've gone through. And that's part of the hope of what's been these last 8 weeks, is for you to recognize that some basic things, that your body is the best home your mind will ever have. We have a body for a reason, right? And the other thing is that your body will wait for you. As you've been a trauma survivor, or if you're helping people survive trauma, the mind goes out in front and tries to control and protect you, and that's what it's supposed to do. But the body's the one that's been witnessed, and part of Bessel van der Kolk's, influence is to realize that the body needs to know where the present is. The mind-body relationship needs to find its way home, right? And that the body is one of the places that you get to have a very intimate relationship with. My connection to whether I can lift my arm, nobody can get in the way of that, right? There's a connection between you and your body and between you and the universe that is yours. And part of what happens when you've gone through trauma is that you forget that. Or maybe you never knew that because you grew up in an unsafe home or who knows what. But the truth, it's a truth, is that you get to be here. And the other thing I want you to know is that I want you to invest in your resilience, in your own resilience. And if you're a trauma survivor and going through these sessions, it's like you made it. You made it to here, right? It's not because you're fragile, it's because you're a survivor. And so if you're working with people, that's one of the biggest things. Like anyway, if you made it to this point, don't judge where you've been. Just realize that that's what you needed to do to survive. And this is a really important point. So just to quickly refresh a little bit, there's certain sensations that I've been trying to get you to pay more attention to. One is the sensation of grounding. And it's very hard for the mind to ground by itself. You can't think yourself into a more grounded space. You maybe can exhale, take some breaths and feel your body again and feel movement. But I want you to get that your body provides structure, right? So put your hands on your table or on your legs and push your feet. If you're sitting in a chair, push down through your feet and feel your sitting bones on the floor. Your body gets input. Imagine your body is putting up pillars of strength around your mind. So as I have both my hands on the table, feel both my sitting bones, feel both my feet, that is structure that I can count on if my mind can let it in. One of the things that we've been trying to practice is how to soften the organs of perception. In other words, where your mind actually grips onto the world. So when you have a structure here, your hands and feet more grounded, right? Soften the skin on your face, around the temples, your jaw, the inside of your mouth, right? Let that inward emptiness and quiet become part of your experience. It's not vulnerability. It's your dimension. It's your resilience, right? But have that softening while you have the structure of your body, like pillars around a mind that's finally coming home. Right? So just take a breath or two here into the structure that calms your mind down. The sensations of my hands on the table, my sitting bones on my wheelchair cushion, on the foot pedals. I'm going to lift my chest a little bit. I'm going to show that if I activate when I choose, I can have the sensation of feeling more alive. That it's in your control. And then when you release and drop your chest, you can feel how things get dull again, right? So the sensation of grounding while softening the organs of perception, the sensation of balance, thinking about balance not just as a physical success, like a coordination success, like standing on one leg and just like trying to wobble back and forth, but balance being more an equal distribution of presence throughout your entire body, right? To be able to feel tangibly, feeling whole, not just with your mind, but filling the vessel with your awareness from inside to out. So again, when you ground your hands and feet, right? I don't want you just to like, it's harder to do this if you're about to fall out of your wheelchair, right? You can still do it, right? But what I want you to get is that part of your balance is whether you can, at certain times during your day, feel your whole body, right? So an equal distribution of presence is another definition of balance, right? So you feel your feet, your sitting bones, your hands. You lift your chest, because lifting your chest creates a dynamic energy that goes through your whole body, right? And so this idea of staying equally distributed throughout your body, that's going to help you when you're having rushes of fear, or you're around someone that you are uncomfortable, or walking in a parking lot. Well, we're not going out as much, but when you feel like that your mind wants to feel threat, it's going to help if you stay balanced throughout your body and don't let your awareness just go into your judging mind, right? So the equal distribution of presence and knowing that you can be integrated even if conditions aren't optimal. So sometime, maybe tonight when you're brushing your teeth, stand on one foot, brush your teeth. Try a crazy thing. Try brushing your teeth with your other hand tonight. It's hard. You might like get toothpaste on your eyebrows, but it's okay. No one's there. You get to choose. You get to practice these things, because another sensation that I've been trying to get across this time is the sensation of expansion. Because there's a tendency when you're oppressed and feeling like the world's kind of scary and holding you down, there's a tendency to get smaller inside your mind-body relationship. And I'm telling you, one of the best ways to be more resilient is to expand. Doesn't mean you have to yell at people and claim it all your space. There's the mind-body component of just staying like a mountain inside your body, feeling your feet, feeling your grounding, feeling your breath. These are things that nobody has to know is going on. You can be wiggling your toes when someone's super bugging you, right? Because that happens in your life, right? Wiggle your toes and ground your heels so your body keeps its shape, keeps its boundary as you're dealing with what is something that's difficult or irritating to deal with. So again, the sensation of expansion, which, so everyone stand up for a second. And remember, we practice this taking up space. Like take your arms and legs wide, 3.5 to 4 feet wide, and recognize the difference of when you have your feet turned out a little bit, right? That's one sensation. And then turn your feet straight ahead and note and feel the grounding change in your legs. And then as your legs are pointed straight ahead, roll your thighs out and stretch out through your fingertips, but draw your shoulder blade back towards your body, right? Live in more spaces. Extend out through the top of your head. It's your birthright to live in your body. Claim it back. And then bring your hands down and place them on your rib cage, because this is going to ground your breath. Here's a sensation of grounding, right? Feel home. Feel the grounding. Inhale and expand. Take your arms wide again, right? Be in the spaces of your life. That's what this closing idea I want you to do is live in more spaces, right? Good. And then take your arms down. So, and then you can have a seat. So if I were in charge of everything, which I'm not, I would have you standing with your arms and legs wide while you wait for your coffee in the morning. In the middle of your kitchen. I would be probably if you sweep your floor before, but I think it'd be great if you know you have a busy day and your mind is actually racing a little bit. I would go spread eagle and lay on your kitchen floor. Just take up space, right? Have the sensation of support of the floor underneath you. Take up space, change the pattern under your own control, and feel your resilience. You get to have space between you and what is stressing you out, between you and what makes you happy. It's both, right? You get to have certain things. So this staying with you, I think you should take up more space, right? I think you should stand with your arms and legs wide. If in a more enlightened workplace, when we ever get back together, I think office meetings should also, if someone that's at a meeting, if you're there and you want to take your arms and legs wide and just stand up in the middle of a meeting, I don't think everyone should freak out. This is the world if I was in charge. I want people to live their bodies while they're trying to affect their life, right? Here's another crazy little thing, not just brushing with your left hand. Do you always sit in the same place on your couch or in the same chair? Oh my God, rock your own world and sit on the other side of the couch. No one has to know that you're doing something radical. It can be just you. Or sit at a different place. This is crazy. Sit at your kitchen table in a different chair. Go to the other side of the table. Double the size of your universe. You've never, ever looked from that side of the world. Unfortunately, you see some things like there's a lot of dust on top of your fridge or something. You've got all these issues that happen, right? But I'm telling you, routine both protects us when we really need it, doing the same thing over and over, but it also restricts us. It does both. Your body has been shackled by your mind in ways you don't even know. And the ways you start to transform that is to let your body start to live in more spaces. Let more happen when it's your choosing of your time. Your body is an amazing boundary, but even deeper than that, the empty quietness, when you soften the inside of your mouth and the base of your tongue, and you feel that drop inward, that quiet space, maybe you don't even know, but maybe you think that tender part of you is the most vulnerable one. What if it's your strongest part of you? What if that space gets judged by the mind as being not resilient? But that's your mind, because your mind's out there trying to protect stuff. So part of in the development of inner awareness, right? I want you to know that you're not going to where you're quiet and little. You're going to where you're most connected to the world, and you're the strongest if you can have it coursing through you as your own. Don't give that internal space away to somebody else. And maybe you're one of those people that's a big caregiver that wants to take care of everyone else before yourself. Be careful about that. Don't self-sacrifice, right? Find that space for yourself. And I'm telling you, one of the places and ways to do that is through your body more, right? And then allow for that, for different, where are other places? Think of the other places you could be. Maybe you have like a certain people that you're around that you tend to not present your best self, right? The next time, just sit quietly and be grounded in your body while you're watching yourself do the things that you don't want after the fact. These are opportunities for you to realize that there's potential in the spaces between you and your life, right? It doesn't just have to be heavy, right? So another thing I want you to get better at is being open to your front and your back body, right? If you can be more aware, this is one of those strange things I tell people, more back body awareness helps you with stress, because typically stress is coming out forward and pushing you towards your head and away from your sense of grounding. So there's all these little things. One of the reasons why I love yoga is yogic insights can go with me anywhere and everywhere. But the trick is they're not like taking aspirin. You have to practice them, right? You have to practice them, because if you try to learn mind body awareness only when you're at your most stressed out place, only when the frying pan is the hottest, you're not going to learn it as well. You have to have a practice in you of living more vibrantly in your body so you can conjure those sensations in less than optimal situations, right? So it's not just about the techniques of the little, what's this exercise if I'm in this situation? That's good too. But really remember that the mind body practices are like opening a door to a part of you that's got more dimension, that's stronger, that's more grounded. And you have that potential in you. And I've learned so much more about it through my body. I was a 13-year-old boy that went through 6 months of being in the hospital and learned all these ways to disassociate from my body. And I didn't realize the cost of I wouldn't change anything because I survived that time, right? I had to do that. But the cost of not utilizing and allowing your body to be one of your deepest and greatest teachers, that's a huge cost. Because remember, the sensation of love travels through the body from inside to out. The sensation of gratitude, of good works, they all have to travel through the body. Nothing makes it to the world if it just stays in your head. Nothing does. Everything has to travel through your body. Even if it's a mathematical formula and you have to write it on a piece of paper, it still has to travel through your body. So don't think this is the only way. This is a really important way when you're surviving something in the initial phases. But healing will ask you to come back to more of yourself. Healing through realization and reconnection is very different than healing as reversal. For any of you out there that survived trauma, there's no going back to before whatever happened. That's gone now. Now can you see the potential of how there is opportunity that you've had to learn and survive to go forward? And it's simple. Bring your body along. It'll make it better over time. Trust the hours, Galway Canal. Trust the hours with your mind-body practice. For haven't they taken you everywhere? Your body has taken you everywhere. It has waited for you everywhere. It won't abandon you. It will support you. You just have to ask and you have to listen. And when you do, the world gets better for you. I really believe that. If I can stay connected in my body, I can handle anything. So can you. All right, if there's any questions, live in more spaces. Spread eagle on the floor sometime today. Brush your teeth with your other hand. Take a longer shower. Who knows? Let your body have its voice. That's my parting thought to you, to all of you, and help people you're helping realize that. Any questions? And I'll look in the chat box. Thanks for joining me these 8 weeks. Know that we're doing a 5-part workshop series in April with the Trauma Research Foundation. Bessa will be one of the guests. Dr. Ruth Lanius, Dr. Daniel Libby, Kevin Kling. It's this 5-part series. It's going to be great. I'm looking for any questions. Anyone got anything out there? What advice would you give to an incarcerated trauma survivor who is locked 22 hours a day? Whew, that's a real question. I think that the the walls that surround you, the loss of freedom, there's freedom that comes from being able to walk around in more physical space, but the real freedom occurs more from inside to out. So I think that developing some sort of mind body practice, if you're incarcerated, I think that learning how to go inward, not just for meditation, but also practicing expansion, because the real powerful expansion happens within your mind body relationship. That's a really, and again, I do, there's the, oh my gosh, I'm forgetting his name right now. Um, James Fox, I think, the prison yoga project. Check out some of their stuff for sure. Um, um,
What advice would you give to someone who feels anxiety in the middle of the night?
There are a whole bunch of things. Basically, your mind is like run off the rails, right? So boundaries going to help. Putting your hand, calming down your frontal cortex, right? So if you just take your hand, like there are things we do that we teach us for all different types of situations where you just put it lightly on your forehead. But you got to learn to receive. This is why it takes practice. You don't want, this isn't like going to be like taking a sleeping pill, right? But if you can like just gently lay your hand on your forehead and move the skin on the forehead towards the bridge of the nose and receive, close your eyes and receive the settling energy in onto your forehead and into your brain, right? I also find that when you're very agitated in your body, what's happened is you're not receiving from the room around you as much. So like really try to focus on, if you're laying in bed, let's say, like feeling your heels on the bed, your shoulders, like go through a series of things where you just let the body's voice start superseding your mind's judgment, right? And so, because remember, those sensations are always happening, your mind just has stopped receiving. So, and of course, to get the initial safety, maybe turn on your light and sit up and change the pattern, right? Um, and it means, learning to soften your jaw. I mean, part of what happens is your mind is bringing your day with you, right? The empty spaces of you are staying connected to your day, and you're bringing that and thoughts about the future into your bed. And so I would also might suggest practicing some sort of ritual before you go to bed, right? Maybe swinging your legs up the wall, laying on the floor, spread eagling on the floor right before you get into bed. Make some distance, make something, some practice, some habit separate you from your sacred place, because you've got to reclaim, and so do I, right? I have a lot of physical pain in my shoulders. Like my bed is still my sacred place, right? Where my body actually nourishes, even if something's supervening, right? And so you need to keep, so sometimes practice laying on your bed when you're not feeling anxiety, right? Like reclaim the things when it's working and make them go deeper. And sometimes, sometimes it helps me to, this is such a good question, like to sleep with my head where my feet were, and my feet where my head were, or to lay sideways across my bed. A lot of times I just need to change the pattern because my mind found too much activity in a certain pattern. And so I need to change the pattern to change my mind. Hope that helps a little bit.
There's one last question.
Okay.
What recommended reading would you give people?
If you're a reader, Um, I mean, for this stuff, I'm not really sure. Of course, I'd tell you my book, but my book has nothing to do with this. My book is a story. Um, I think that there are a whole bunch of good books. It's more about whether you can let in. There's a lot of wisdom around you. It's whether you're going to let it in. Don't think it's always in the teller of the wisdom, right? A lot of times it's in whether you're ready to receive it. So I think there's a lot of great books out there, right? There's a lot of great videos and stuff. It's whether you're ready to hear it, right? There's wisdom all over the place in many different modalities and many different authors, right? So does one pop? Oh, one that I love, which blew my mind, but this is just my story: Zen Flesh, Zen Bones, which is a bunch of Zen koans translated by Paul Reps. I've been carrying this book around with me for how long have I been practicing yoga? 29 years. And I'm only halfway through it because every time I come across one that I have a koan that I have no idea what to do with, I just have to put it down and just like live with it for a while. Right. So I love that one. Right. I love all sorts of things. Yeah. So I wish I had a better, quick, like good one book for you to read, but mostly I want you to believe in your own path a little bit more. Your own ability to seek, to control the pace of your own seeking, right? Listen to yourself too, right? So, all right.
Thank you so much, Mathew.
It's been an honor.
It's been an honor to have you. And I just want everybody who's with us to know that all of these videos are available on the TRF website. And we have all of 2020 pretty much, and we'll be going all through 2021. So please keep joining us every Tuesday. And if you're on our mailing list, which you must be in order to get into these sessions, then we will be able to send you information about Mathew's upcoming workshops in April. So thank you.
And then also, if you're interested in our work at my nonprofit's mindbodysolutions.org.
Yeah.
And we do have a YouTube channel that has short videos on it, and there's just stuff. There's stuff out there. It's
Excellent.
Good stuff.
See you again next week. Thanks so much, Mathew.
Yep. Take care, everybody.